Hello and good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:13 on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, and I call a meeting of Parks, Enterprise Services, and Culture and the Arts meeting to order. I want to welcome Committee Vice Chair Okimoto, Councilmember Cordero, and Councilmember Tupola. All right, pursuant to Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology. With the following procedures in effect for the meeting, members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways: in person in the council chamber and remotely. In person and remote oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify in person will be called upon first. When the timer goes off, please conclude your remarks properly. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. Once in-person testimony has concluded, I will proceed remote testimony. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or telephone will be called upon. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompt. For persons who are testifying by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When the number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and then press *6. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom hand raise button to indicate your desire to speak. For those joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Some friendly reminders: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television when called to testify. When a timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires that all votes at remote meetings be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. Written testimonies include the testifier's address, email address, and phone number will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Council members, I know it's been a very busy morning. Busy last 3 days, right? Councilmember Cordero, so let's rock and roll. Let's get through this. All right, let's go to item number 1, Resolution 24-41, appointment of Jasper Wong to the Commission of Culture and the Arts. Mr. Wong is here, as well Executive Director O'Connell from the Office of Culture and the Arts. Would you like to say a few words, Mr. Wong?
Hi, thanks for having me here today. My name is Jasper Wong, and I've been doing art work within the community for over the past decade. I'm born and raised in Hawaii. If you go around Kaka'ako and see the murals there, I founded that project and been doing that for over a decade. Last year, we started doing more work at Palamo Settlement and Kalihi Elementary and Kaliuka Elementary and all around Kalihi. So we've been really focused on promoting the arts and providing platforms for artists, giving art back to the people by doing community beautification and also teaching and working with not only public schools, but also with community centers, Boys and Girls Club, etc. So my life here in Hawaii has always been focused on education and the arts and trying my best to share the beauty of Hawaii and the artists of Hawaii to globally. So we also do the project in over 25 cities around the world. And we always try to bring artists from Hawaii all over the place, from like Japan to all over Europe to all over the States, and just be a source for inspiration and be a source to sort of get their art out there and connect and build bridges from here to across the globe.
Oh, big fan, and I know members have questions. I see Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a big fan too. You know, art, period, everything that you guys did, the way that it transformed the neighborhood there. And so, I guess my question for you is in the way that we're currently operating, which I don't know how familiar you are with the kind of art we do in the city or what we're involved with, what could we be doing better?
Yeah, so I am familiar because I've worked with COCA and I've worked with Art Commission and MOCA and with Nate Sirota and the Parks and Rec on trying to get more public art in public spaces. And I understand that there is like a sort of a long approval process. And I think one of the things that we could do is just trying to streamline that or even try to educate people on that process and why it exists and guide them. I think, you know, Nathan has always done like a great job in doing that. And we've met privately to sort of talk about things and try to figure out ideas. And whenever we have, whenever I have an idea to do something, he'll help to guide me through that. And we've always had tons of help across the board in that regard. And also just, you know, finding, I think one of the hardest things in Hawaii is funding for the arts. Like there's definitely like a lack of funding. And I do this type of work globally, and in other cities, there's like almost like a lot of funding to try to like get the arts out there. And I know that for a lot of us that are doing work in the arts here in Hawaii, we all kind of like fight for the same pots. And I got to a point where like I'm not going to try to fight for that pot. Like I'll just try to find funding elsewhere so I can also support other people and other organizations that are doing the work. And so I think there's like a number of things that we could do. And I think everyone is like-minded and passionate about it. And I think we could all find a way to sort of find like some systems that we could make happen and funding and also support young people that are really passionate about it too. Or sharing the possibilities of what they can do as an artist or as a creative, not just in visual arts, but in music, dance, film, etc.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just wanted to kind of drop some ideas, and I see Mr. Sirota here too. Is like, you know, the state is kind of starting to dabble, right? DOT dabbled, and they did a mural project for all of the Drive Aloha, you know, the DUIs, et cetera. So they did a mural up at Nanakuli High School. Now they have other schools that are doing it, and that's through Department of Transportation, which is crazy, right? Who thought DOT was going to get into murals? But then also 1% of all new construction in the state goes towards arts. So the state has funds for this, and maybe that's where Ed Sniffen got it. I don't know where he got it from. But there's various places. There's one right as you drive into my community. And I'm not saying it's a DOT wall, but the wall is on a DOT highway. But it gets vandalized every single day. Every single day. And they just keep painting over. I mean, we should just make a mural. We should get with the DOT because they don't necessarily have a commission, right? They get random pockets of money and then they try to do these projects at like schools and DOE properties. I think I've seen them start to move a little bit more in the arts direction, but I think we in the city have more of a, you know, Office of the Culture and the Arts. We have a commission. I think we should, you know, maybe advise them on a few things.
I worked with DOT last year. So Palama Settlement runs along a freeway. So all the walls that run along Palama Settlement is DOT. The issue is like, you know, how do we get a hold of DOT and be like, hey, can you guys just blanket approve this? You know, instead of like trying to go through this process of getting it approved, like, can you guys be like, hey, we're gonna do a bunch of murals. It's for Palama Settlement. This is the work that we've done. Here are the sketches. Can we just get it done? And I think the hard part was DOT has like a lot on their hands. And there was times when I'm like, I'm having a hard time getting a hold of someone to get this approved.
Yeah, let me help you with that. So what I think the way that Ed likes it is he likes like 5 to 10 projects. So the way they did the school mural, they picked 6 or 7 schools. They contracted out to have Ken Nishimura them do it, right? And then they did all the schools. Maybe what we should do is choose like 5 different walls along highways or, you know, because that wall is actually near a park. So we could say that it's kind of in conjunction with the city thing. And then he would probably like to do it in a package like that. And so I'll initiate the letter for you. But if you're willing to like, you know, dabble, and I know I'm asking you to do stuff above and beyond city stuff, but I just think you have so much talent. You've done huge projects. I mean, why not go for the gusto? Just saying.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely open to it. Yeah, for sure. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Chair.
Awesome. Questions? Okay. We will now proceed with in-person testimony in the council chambers. Is there anyone here to testify?
I don't see anyone, Mr. Chair.
Are we looking for Angela?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was here. I don't know where she went.
All right. We'll move on to remote testimony. Is there any remote testimony?
No one has logged on.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to testify on this item? I see no one. There are no remote registered speakers or persons joining us remotely. Okay, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
In support, a lot of support. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm excited because there's several places in Waipahu, just doing the community policing thing in Waipahu with our Win Back Waipahu campaign. One of the things that they suggest was doing murals on some of the walls in areas of a shopping area where in Waipahu that has a lot of homelessness, and with lighting up the sidewalk and activating it with a mural will help, not only bring a new kind of essence to the community, but maybe even help with the challenges with our homeless population that sleeps along the sidewalk. So I would love to do whatever I can to help support and try to get this moving along and making the process faster, even with the electrical boxes. I would love to see somebody, reach out to my office that can help facilitate, and maybe you can give them some ideas on how we can bring that culture to Waipahu that we all know, maybe on the boxes and maybe telling a story. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing what you do on the commission. Okay, the chair recommends that resolution 24-41 be reported out for adoption. Any objections? Okay. Yeah, there's no vote. Okay, move on. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, resolutions.
Did you say so moved?
Oh, we have a roll call. Oh, we have to do a roll call?
No. You just have to say objections, reservations, hearing none, so ordered.
Okay, yeah. Any objections, reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, let's move on. It was taken out of the.
It's all
Anyway.
good. I know what you mean.
Okay, let's move on. Item number 2, resolution 24-42, reappointment of Michael Robinson to the Board of Parks and Recreation. Here, I think Mr. Robinson is here. Would you like to say a few words?
Hi, good afternoon, committee. Mike Robinson with Hawaii Pacific Health. I appreciate the opportunity to be reconfirmed onto the board. I've been serving now for about 6 months, and it's been a good experience so far. Thanks.
Awesome. Any questions for the testifier? Okay. I just want to ask you, what have you learned, or what the experience has been like the last 6 months? Because I've been to several where I walked in and it seems so robust. So can you tell us and share a little bit?
Sure. So it's been really robust. I've been really impressed with the other committee members in terms of their dedication, which to me, when I saw the other folks on there, I was like, yeah, I got to be a part of this. What we've been doing now is really addressing the governance structure to create subcommittees to work on areas of interest. So for example, I'm on the maintenance committee now, and I just attended our first meeting about 2 weeks ago, and been really impressed with the amount of thought and dedication that the staff has to make change in this area. So yeah, like I said, I've been really impressed with the way it's organized, and I'm looking forward to contribute how I can.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do in the coming years. Okay, we will now proceed with in-person testimony in the council chamber. Is there anyone here to testify?
There is no one, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Okay.
No one.
We will move on to remote testimony. Is there any remote testifiers?
No one's logged on.
Okay. Seeing none, we are in discussion, members. Councilmember Tupola.
I'm in support of Mr. Robinson, and I'm grateful that he's willing to do a reappointment so that he can continue on. I think us getting the Parks Commission up is kind of still a new idea, so I love as many carryover pieces as we can to lay some foundation and then possibly mentor in a new person into your position after you're done with your term. But thank you for your service. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else with questions? Okay. The chair recommends that resolution 24-42 be reported out for adoption. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to item number 3, resolution 24-51, urging the Department of Parks and Recreation to make official requests for use of State Department of Education facilities and the State Board of Education to ensure availability of school grounds for recreational purposes. And hear from the administration's Director Laura Thielen.
Good afternoon, Chair, committee members. Laura Thielen on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation. We would like to thank the Council for considering the resolution and for the Vice Chair of the Council for introducing the resolution. There is a 50-year-old agreement between the DOE and the Parks Department, but it's 50 years old about sharing use of facilities. The city and county issues a tremendous number of recreational field permits for DOE school leagues because they do not have enough fields during their seasons. So many of the DOE leagues will practice or play on park fields. We do rely, especially in the Windward and North Shore District, on partnering with the DOE for some of their facilities for our summer fun programs because we do not have enough buildings to run summer fun to meet the community needs out there. And what we found is that in some cases, a principal will agree and we have a great relationship, but then that principal may leave and a new principal comes in and that sharing or use of the facility over the summer ends. And so it interrupts a lot of our programming. We also have issues during out time of school when schools are closed where we have more applications for field use permit than we have fields. And so the ability to have this type of reciprocal relationship with the DOE would be very helpful. So we think the council passing this, we understand the legislature is also passing a similar resolution. We'll kind of give an impetus for the director of our department, me, and the DOE superintendent to get together and to start to talk about ways that we can work together. If I may make a suggestion, though, on the resolution, there is a paragraph in here about a whereas paragraph that city owns, operates, maintains, and manages over 80 parcels of land housing DOE schools, some of which are on parklands. That is accurate, but the legislature has passed legislation asking that these properties be subdivided and that land under the DOE school be transferred over to them. If I may, if the author of the resolution is welcoming, I would like to work with your staff and maybe replace that whereas clause, noting the number of permits that the Department of Parks and Recreation issues for DOE to use park lands so that we could kind of stress that this would be a reciprocal relationship and we can highlight that the DOE is already using a lot of our facilities.
Councilmember Kiaina.
Thank you. Are you looking at a FD1 to the resolution then?
I do not have language for you at this time. I don't know if it would be going through a second committee hearing. I'm sorry, I'm still learning the council process. Or if we would do it.
No, it would only be one. So I would recommend, I do not want to hold it up. And the reason is it's just generating dialogue both here at the legislature. And quite frankly, it's because of the desperation of parents and coaches who just don't have enough fields. And we want to kokoa them, right? And so I don't want to stop the forward movement progress of the dialogue. So if I would be open, but it would be an FD1 going to the full council.
Okay, we can work with your staff on that. And then I do want to point out what our town hall last week at Kailua, one of the leagues did come to me. They had approached the DOE, but the DOE was going to charge them for use of the fields. We do not charge the DOE for use of the city park department fields. So I just, for the.
Councilmember.
That is a good point. That is unacceptable. So I mean, for DOE to charge. That's what I was told, because a lot of them are doing so. And I'm hoping that Senator Elefante, our former colleague, who is behind his own resolution to make the facilities available, will also help us with the Department of Education. So I just wanted to tell my colleagues that no, the Department of Education should not be charging for the use of their fields, and we will make sure that we have standards to keep everything in place. I also know ASO also supported this, and if it's about liability, for example, they are willing to work with the appropriate entities to make, because they have liability insurance. So if DOE uses that excuse, we could counter that. I just think they need to wake up and kokoa. And I heard that at the local level, it's who you know, you get connections. No, the superintendent needs to provide guidance to all of these people so that people just be treated fairly throughout the islands. But I just wanted to thank you for your support, and also to thank you for your support for the 2 acres at Ben Parker Elementary. So you guys, there was a time when the former HFD chief was looking for various parcels, and those parcels are not being utilized. And so the current chief recognizes that 2 acres at Ben Parker Elementary School in Kaneohe is going to be given to the parks, and that 2 acres could be used for the youth sports. So greatly appreciate you guys, kokoa, and I'm looking forward to seeing the availability of more lands to come.
We are delighted with the addition of field inventory space. We sorely need it.
I want to welcome Council Chair Tommy Waters. You have a question? Okay.
Chair, I'm sorry. Chair, I'm sorry, did the chair have any questions? I wanted to make a statement. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, because
Is that okay?
Colleagues, I have introduced this resolution to address concerns throughout my district regarding the critical shortage of field space for our youth sports organizations and teams. The onset of the pandemic exacerbated this issue in 2 significant ways. Firstly, prior to the COVID pandemic, the Department of Education had been issuing permits for the use of field space by our youth sports organizations. However, amidst the pandemic, the issuance of these permits were abruptly halted, drastically reducing the available fields for our community's youth. Secondly, the popularity of youth sports has surged, leading to year-round demands for field space. What used to be seasonal leagues have now evolved into year-round activities, further straining our already limited resources for parks and recreation. To illustrate the severity of the situation, currently our youth soccer teams in Kaneohe are forced to share just 1.5 fields for practices and games. This is particularly concerning given that ASO Soccer alone, a single organization in Kaneohe, typically serves 300 kids across 10 to 15 teams. Understandably, this strain has forced baseball, football, and soccer organizations to seek alternative options, including renting space from DOE schools in the area. However, it's unfair that these nonprofit youth sports leagues are being burdened with additional costs for access to facilities that should be available to them for free. It is imperative that we take action to rectify this situation, ensuring that our youth have access to the resources they need to stay active, healthy, and engaged in positive activities.
Thank you, Councilmember Kiaina. I think we feel that in all of our communities, so thank you for sharing that. Okay, Councilmember Water?
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon, Director. Hey, this resolution is urging the Department of Parks and Recreation to make requests of the Department of Education to use their facilities. But conversely, can we make our facilities available to the schools?
We already do, Chair. We permit a significant number of public school athletic events at various fields around the island. As you know, there's several in your district, and some of them actually use the field as their, quote, home field. Others are going to use it for games. Cocoa Head District Park is used a lot, Kahala Community Park, a number of other parks around the island. We do give priority to the public schools. We will work with the private schools under certain circumstances, and we also have some of the college also going into areas. And then the city just put a significant amount of funding into repairs to Hans Lorange Stadium Park, which is used for the televised games for high school as well as college.
I appreciate that very, very much. And I know Alawai Park, as an example, there's games there, every weekend and including on the weekdays. Interestingly, a few days ago, I got a call from a teacher at Kaimuki Middle asking if they could use, or their ability to use the Kilauea gym has been curtailed. I just thought it was because the gym was in need of repair. But are you aware of that happening at Kilauea Gym?
I can look into it, Chair. I do know that we have an issue with the gym roof, and I think it is on our list of buildings to fix. But I know that they've had to reduce some space because of roof issues, but I can look into that particular one.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Okimoro.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, Director Thielen. This is a fun concept for me because normally it is the opposite. Or the schools I've worked at or been at, we as a city have been the ones to allow the DOE to use the property. So thank you, Council Vice Chair, for introducing this. I had a question that I think Councilmember Kiaina did say it, but I want to just have it on record. So assuming that the city does go forward and we make this agreement with the DOE, after school programs, anything after that, the liability will then, I assume, fall upon the state. If there's anything that happens with us using the school's property or the property after school hours.
So the state and the city, and I would defer to the Corporation Council for more detail, but there is a standard practice when either of us is permitting the other to come onto our property, we require indemnification. So if we were to go onto DOE property, they would require indemnification from us. When we issue permits to them, there is indemnification requirements. The OIA or I don't know, those leagues do not fall under that practice. They are separate. But we do also permit individual schools for use of our park areas for recess and PE. And in those cases, in other activities, there is a requirement for indemnification. I will note, because the Council Vice Chair brought up during the change of the DOE practice during COVID, when we came in, it was the beginning of COVID, and there had been a practice under the prior administration to not allow the parks to be used by the DOE. We reopened it up immediately for the DOE because my feeling was it would be better for the children to be spread out and to be in the open air than to be in a classroom. So we definitely wanted to be good partners with them, and we reached out to the superintendent to reopen that.
Thank you for doing that. I agree. And again, I've seen it where many times, most cases actually, where the city is the one to allow the usage of the park. So thank you for doing that. And you said so Corp Council is okay. That's the standard. This is the practice that's used. If we're using either the state or the city properties, then that's the.
Well, I would assume that we would follow the standard practice if we were to be able to reach an agreement with the DOE, so that if we permitted an event there, we would indemnify them if there was an injury from there. When an individual organization permits an event there that doesn't come through us, which sometimes happens, they work out their own contractual arrangement with the DOE, and the DOE would normally require insurance.
Okay, I'm just wondering if you're assuming, and I'm assuming as well, but is that something that we have to have in written format?
I think it's a pretty standard practice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Director Thielen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Tupola.
Thanks so much. Yeah, Director, thanks for bringing that up. I still remember when the principal at my daughter's elementary reached out during COVID to ask about whether or not the parks could be open for use because all the parks were closed. So there's one thing we've done for them among many other things. But I think in my district, especially on schools where their auxiliary areas of the school are just open fields, I mean, we have a handful in my district that it's not even in between buildings or anything. generally the layout of most of the schools, there's lots of open space, but sometimes it's not in a place where the kids use it or there's any equipment. So I do hope a MOU can be reached on maybe just, I'm sure they'll have concerns about people going in and through their buildings. But as we've seen in a lot of our parks, usage is better than no usage, meaning that some of the schools that get vandalized in the middle of the night or, in the afternoon, it could be good that there's, presence of people, or it could be detrimental. I think either way, though, a lot of these schools would benefit from us being able to have, families there doing positive activities in the afternoon hours rather than them trying to hire security guards through the night. So I wish you luck on it. I mean, obviously, as Augie said, we need fields just as much as every other district, but I don't know if it's the tat for tat. We do this, you guys do that, as much as I really just think we both do a lot for each other. So we should just come up with an MOU and say, hey, we do some things, you guys do some things. This, benefits everybody. So love the resolution. Thank the introducer, and thank you for being willing to entertain these conversations.
And actually, I also don't mean to throw the DOE under the bus when I'm talking about this, and I apologize if it came across that way. I can understand why schools may be concerned about having people coming into a school ground during the off-school hours or the off-school season, and I think there would have to be some protections or guarantees. But it seems that the DOE has worked that out because they do permit individual groups to come on and use school properties. So I think they probably have safeguards in place, and we would certainly want to keep those in place under any agreement that we work out with them, because we want this to be a beneficial relationship for everyone.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We'll now proceed to in-person testimony in the council chamber. Is there anyone testifying? Okay. Go ahead and state your name and who you're testifying on.
Aloha.
Okay.
Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee, Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. So this resolution is a policy to create recreational spaces for the health and welfare of children and youth. And I'm in strong support. So it's collaborating the appropriate offices, Parks and Recreations, which operates Summer Fun, and also Department of Education, which operates the public school system for students. And these two offices should collaborate because these two offices cater to children and youth in keikis. So it's not just in theory that this will work out well. In actuality, there is a high probability that it will work out well because it's a good idea, and the law is already operating in favor of this according to the Hawaii Revised Statute. The guiding legislative parameters by the state law already does set forth that public school facilities and buildings must be available. It shall be available for general recreational purposes. So it can be rationalized. You can refer to the HRS in the proposal, right? It states all public school buildings, facilities, and grounds shall be available for general recreational purposes, whenever these activities do not interfere with the normal and usual activities of the school. So it's not going to interfere with normal school hours because it's during break for summer fun, right? So it's very
wrap it up?
Good of an idea to collaborate the two offices, and especially because, if they don't have fun things to do, they start to really act out and bully and harass each other.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that summary. Appreciate it. Okay. Is there anyone that would like to testify remotely?
No one has logged on, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I know. We do see last three numbers 212. Is that? I'm assuming no. Maybe the next one, right? Oh, no. Okay. Thank you, sir. For the next one. All right. Okay. Do we have anyone else? Okay. All right, members, we are in discussion. All right. The chair recommends that Resolution 24-51 be reported out for adoption. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, let's move on to item number 4, urging the city administration to construct additional beach, sand, volleyball courts at city parks. And here from the administration is Director Laura Thielen.
Thank you, council members. Again, Laura Thielen on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation. We are always happy to expand recreational opportunities. You know, we think it's great for our society, our civic, engagement, and to have people active and healthy. What I would say is on the beach, it tends to be a very narrow area because we're an island as opposed to the continent, which gets fairly wide beach areas. Last year in the budget, you folks funded a study for us to do similar to Maui County, where we could take a look at the erosion rates and how they're affecting our beach parks around the island. Maui County came up with a plan that they shared with us a while back. And what they basically have identified is which parks are they actually having accretion, or the erosion is so slow that they're going to be reliable. And those are kind of the green light parks where you could put improvements in them. Which ones are at risk where erosion's happening, but you can slow it, maybe through strategic planting or dune restoration or other things like that. And then which ones are kind of the red light, they're not going to be there fairly soon. It's eroding so quickly, you do not want to invest in building something into that area. So we're trying to work on finalizing a professional services contract to begin that this year. That would allow us to really have somebody come in and take a hard look at our beach parks. We're also adding a heat element. So it would, because our inland parks are in heat areas where they're going to be really affected, both for our park users as well as our staff who are out there maintaining them. What are some things that we need to adopt, similar to places like Arizona, Texas, California, where they have very high levels of heat, so we're prepared. So this is a long way of saying is we would like to look at areas for beach volleyball and where we can expand that. I don't know that we will have the hard information on where we could do anything large for probably another year, because we need to get the study going and to have that look island-wide. Where we can fit in some smaller ones at this point, we are willing to open the discussion. But as you know, people tend to all like to go to the same park. So I'm hearing the requests already for Ala Moana Beach Park. And so we have a couple areas there. We might be able to expand it, but it's always a little bit of a dance because, the beaches are highly used, to make sure we can identify an area that, has the least impact on other existing uses and can expand, in a respectful way. So we would love to engage with the beach volleyball community, both for the short and long term. I do notice that there's a request for a report in 6 months. I'm not sure that we're going to have construction plans in 6 months, so I just want to manage the expectations on what we could do on a larger scale, and perhaps we can work on the smaller scale while we're waiting for this study to be completed.
Councilmember, Council Chair Waters.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I realize that park space is at a premium, especially for ball fields. In my district, and I'm sure it's all over the island, there's a shortage of baseball fields. So to try to find space for a sand volleyball court is going to be difficult. But you look like a volleyball player yourself. I want to just point out a couple of things. Sand volleyball was first started in 1915 on the beach of Waikiki. It's growing in popularity. It is now an Olympic sport. The NCAA has sanctioned beach volleyball. You can get a scholarship. Our young people can get a scholarship to go to college for free on a beach volleyball scholarship. We currently have 6 courts. 4 of them are in Waikiki, and 2 of them are at Ala Moana. What I'm proposing is I like your idea of looking where we could expand that, but in my district on Hunakai Street, there's a private park. And what that community did was they dug out a sand volleyball court. I don't know where they got the sand from, but they dug out a court, and it's really, really popular. So I was talking to them and other people, and one of the assistant coaches for the sand volleyball team was saying, hey, if we could get this type of court in our regional parks, not necessarily on the beach, because I know the beach is, space is limited, but maybe just an idea or a thought that if each of our council members are interested, we could identify areas in our districts and then work with you. Again, I don't know where we're going to get the sand from. That's going to be a problem because you cannot take it off the beach. But I bet you the community would help build it. You know, and I'm happy to show you what they did over in Hunakai because it looks super simple. You cement 2 poles, put a net, but then you got to get the sand. But any ideas that you have, I'm happy to work with you, and thank you for being open to the idea.
So AYSO and WISA soccer, not volleyball, but my dad was a volleyball player. So thank you for, talking about the parks as opposed to the beach themselves. I grew up in the windward side, and Lanikai used to have 2 to 3 volleyball courts side to side, Mauka to Makai. You couldn't even fit one on that beach now because, same with Waikiki, it's eroded to the point where it's not a problem. I do, again, just for managing expectations, we would be happy to work with you. We'd be happy to get locations from council members that are interested. As you know, digging in certain areas will trigger, because we are a government entity, a requirement to be working with the State Historic Preservation Division, because this is often areas where there were cultural sites. So we need to be sensitive to that. So I just want to make sure people understand that it's not necessarily going to be a quick thing, even though it's a relatively simple physical thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions? I know it's super popular because I think the Filipino national team came to Hawaii looking to find places to not only look for possible players from Hawaii to represent the Philippines in beach volleyball and indoor volleyball. So it's very popular. I know at Pu'uloa we have a small one that I'd like to see somebody maybe help adopt and create it, because I know there is a need to get beach volleyball going in Hawaii. So thank you. All right, we'll move on to in-person testimony in the council chambers.
There is no one, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I know we have several remotely, so we'll go to our first one. That's Susie Olsen, followed by Thelma Heath.
They're both not logged on.
Okay. Do we have Troy Palencia? Troy, all right. You can go ahead and unmute. Aloha, Troy.
Aloha. I just like to say that I'm in strong favor of this resolution. I support it. I'm part of an organization that puts on tournaments for youth and adults. We're trying to share the space at Queens Beach or wherever beach we may be able to obtain a permit for. We'd like to be in the loop as far as what's happening, because I know people have been trying for a long time to get courts built in parks, wherever. We have contractors. We've been doing this long enough, so we understand what it takes to get it going. So we have to import sand. We have contractors that build courts around the world professionally, so we know what it takes. We know what kind of budget we can work with, So if we could be in the loop with Department of Parks and everyone else we need to, we'd like to offer our support and our knowledge of how to get this going quickly, because we know the way things work, it seems like it's going to take a long time, and we got plans to make this happen. So all our schools, all our youth, all our adults, all the way to the university, collegiate professionals, and the tourism can enjoy the use of these facilities. So I strongly support it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any questions for our testifier? Council Chair Tommy Waters, go ahead.
How's it, Troy?
Aloha, Tommy.
Thanks for testifying. You still got your four-man canoe?
I still do.
Good to see you. Hey, I'm going to call you. Your number is here. Let's work
Okay.
together and figure out where we could put these courts. And the director is open, so we got light at the end of the tunnel.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else wanting to testify remotely?
No one else is logged on.
Okay, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Cudero.
Thank you. I'm in strong support of this. You know, I've had family members, my cousins who came from Maui to Honolulu, not just to go to school, but especially because of sand volleyball. And I'm really excited to hopefully support this in the future. And maybe when they have families of their own, they'll be able to carry on that, that sport and show that to their future keiki. Thank you.
Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, in support, anything that, helps youth sports is good for all of us. Kids that are getting engaged and getting active, just like we heard about the inline hockey skaters in Mililani, all of these sports are something that's going to build up this next generation to be productive, to have free paid college. So we would like some courts too. I like that Chair Waters said, let's all identify, because I think we all want to identify some. And it doesn't have to be at a beach park, which is good to know, is that we could possibly work inland and make this happen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right. Okay, the chair recommends the resolution 2462 be reported out for adoption. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, moving on to item number 5, resolution 24-69, accepting the gift of shipping service valued at $2,500 to the city from Aloha Air Cargo for shipping flowers and lei from the neighbor islands to support the making and collection of 38,000 lei to adorn the graves of our service members buried at the National Cemetery of the Pacific in Pu'uwaina as part of the Mayor's Memorial Day ceremony. And here to speak on that is Director Laura Thielen.
Thank you, Chair, members of the council. Laura Thielen on behalf of DPR. We just want to give a huge mahalo to Aloha Air Cargo because of the dedicated support for Mayor's Memorial Day. We don't think we would be able to meet the goal of lei on every soldier's marker without their assistance, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, it's always a beautiful thing to see, yeah? Okay, any questions, members? All right, we'll move on to in-person testimony in the council chamber.
There is no one, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have anyone wanting to testify remotely?
No one has logged on.
All right. Members, we are in discussion. Okay. The chair recommends the resolution 24-69 be reported out for adoption. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, moving on to our last and final item. This is number 6, review and evaluation of Commission on the Culture of the Arts pursuant to Ordinance 17-44. And here from the administration is Director O'Connell. Director, would you like to say a few words?
Aloha Chair, aloha Council members, Ka'ili Trask-O'Connell, Executive Director of Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts. I'm here to answer any questions. We've submitted this report for the Commission for the periodic review by the City Council for the Commission on Culture and the Arts.
Awesome. Members, do you have any questions for the Director? Councilmember Tupola.
Aloha, Director.
Aloha.
My question is about number 3, factors that aided or inhibited the achievement of the accomplishments, including but not limited to the composition and purpose of the Commission and staff support. So it says in 2006, the Mayor's Production Grant Program was established with the Commission serving as jurors for the program. Unfortunately, this program was closed in 2018, and its discontinuation significantly hindered the Commission's ability to fulfill all its mandated goals. So specifically, why was it closed down, and are you guys taking steps towards opening this up again?
I'm going to ask Marion if she doesn't mind. Do you have any history on that, on why it was closed down? Okay.
Aloha, Marian Kadorf with Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts. This was actually closed during the Caldwell period. I do not know the exact circumstances under which this grant program was removed from MOCA. But it is something that has really affected a lot of our commissioners. The makeup of the board reflects different aspects of culture and the arts. So we have landscape, dance, music, theater. And what that grant really did was distribute the funds to different nonprofit organizations that supported all aspects of culture and the arts that our commission reflects. And so without that grant program running anymore, we're not really able to serve the community as we did in the past. Or I'm sorry, I should say the commission is not really able to serve the community as it did in the past. So that is something that I have continually brought up to our directors as well as the mayor, and it's something that I know the mayor is really interested in looking into a little bit further.
Aloha, Marian. Thank you for your answer. So I think you're referring to number 8, where it says that following the closure of the grant program, the commission is considering the inclusion of additional at-large seats to enhance flexibility amongst its members. So you're kind of referring to that.
I'm referring to both of them because they're kind of interrelated.
Right, because it's the grant and then how the commissioners are affected because we don't have that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So one thing that is kind of a struggle for us is finding commissioners that meet the different categories of the seats, such as theater, music, dance, that can speak to relevant projects of COCA. So, of course, MOCA and COCA is constantly transforming depending on who the mayor is, who the director is, and what our initiatives are. Right now, primarily, our projects are visually oriented. So mural projects, the 1% public art projects, and we don't really have a lot of projects that reflect dance or music and that sort of thing, or literature. So it was really that grant program that was able to give more representation in what COCA presented.
Yeah, so just for the members, these seats are pretty specific, like urban design, crafts, dance, mixed media, design, fine arts, theater. So we're drawing all these different people that with these backgrounds, but there's nothing they can contribute per se.
Yeah.
Because we don't have funding set aside to do something so cool that, our dance commissioner, which is vacant right now, would be able to do something with it. So is this $70,000? So the annual cost of the $70,000, is that the amount of money now that is used to try to commission pieces of art, if any?
So the $70,000 is actually dedicated to our maintenance program, and this is something I feel like really proud of about MOCA and the city and county in comparison to the state, and nothing against them, but we have a very active conservation program. So I have a whole list of contractors that goes out and washes, waxes, maintains, does preventive conservation on all of our public artworks and artworks that are rotating in offices as well if they need reframing. So that money primarily goes into the maintenance of the collection and not necessarily acquiring new artwork.
And then the fund that was, I guess, discontinued, do you know how much money was in it, the grant program?
That is a good question. I don't know offhand. I would have to look into that further.
So that grant program used to fund choices by the commissioners of what to do, of which
exactly.
Now we just do partnerships because the 1%'s not ours. So I'm looking through this and it sounds like we've accepted gifts and such, but it looks like the list of what we've done is pretty small. Is that correct? In the last year?
And I've been in this position for 4 years. So primarily what the commission has contributed based on, what they're able to contribute is advising on city art initiatives, such as projects that are initiated through the 1% law. And we have an upcoming project, the Eva Mexico Gymnasium project, and so that's through the 1%. And then any gifts, as you said, any gifts to the city that are donated, and they have a key role in advising on steps that we need to take to consider those gifts. And then as well as the mural program. So Nate Sirota and I, and partnering with Parks, we've really tried to initiate like a stronger method and application process for when people want to initiate community murals. So those are kind of the primary things that come through our office, but there's also, I'm sorry, primary things that come through the commission, but there are, you know, other things that come up as well.
Yeah, you know, E&V met with me because they have a repainting they're doing of the whole wastewater treatment plant in Waianae, and it's like huge bins of, you know, wastewater. So they want to put murals all over that. So that would be something that you guys would advise them on?
Definitely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're suggesting that there be more at-large seats, but are you also suggesting that we change any of these seats?
Well, that's something that we feel it's sort of questionable because I think there is a strong value of having broader representation other than just visual arts, because it does bring a more interdisciplinary approach to thinking about these projects. So it was in discussion with some other folks, we thought maybe it would be to our advantage to add at-large seats, and then that way we could still, you know, have the original makeup that that was created during the Fosse era, and make sure that we're still reaching for those original goals that the commission was set up to do.
Understood. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Chair, for the time.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Okay, we will proceed to in-person testimony in the council chamber.
I don't see anyone, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll now proceed to remote testimony.
No one has logged on.
Okay, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
I'm grateful for the report. I mean, I don't know if I even knew some of these things, so having the report and making us aware of a fund that's not there anymore, but obviously we'd have to try to either one, change the law, or two, try to allocate money to it, but I don't have any ideas now. I'm just thankful that we're able to look through this, and I might have some suggestions in the future.
No, I think one time I was part of a show at Hawaii Theater. This is like maybe 10 years ago that it came from the city, right? And what they did was it funded the Hawaii Theater so that people from public housing could come and enjoy the theater at a really low cost. But they had to get X amount of people that come to the theater for like 6 months. So we did like a comedy series, but it really brought people from communities that would never ever go to the Hawaii Theater to experience this thing. And I think,
no, that's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of these community, and even some of the members of my community who would never be able to afford after-school arts programs, dance lessons, or even go to something fancy like the Hawaii Art Theater.
Yeah. And how many dreams can be built just sitting there and watching someone sing or dance? So
amazing.
Super, super important. Oh, Director.
Aloha, Ka'ili Trask-O'Connell from MOCA. One thing that we've talked a lot about is right now the 1% law is just for new construction. We would love to at some point be able to get that for renovations as well, which is what the state has. That would bring in a lot more revenue. Also in terms of grants, Office of Economic, OER has been working on an initiative, and I have been on the review committee to bring in a partner to help facilitate with the writing of grants, of federal grants. So that would be a huge resource for MOCA to find more funding there as well.
Awesome. Oh, Councilmember Tupola.
Do you think that you could figure out how much funding went into the prior grant that was closed down? I mean, not that we're going to open it up again, but just if you could do some historical work, and then that would let us know kind of what was in the past, and maybe if we could see if we can get some funding up to that level.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. The chair recommends that action on this matter be postponed until the next scheduled meeting of the Committee on Parks, Enterprise Services, and Culture and the Arts. In the interim, the chair will take the matter under advisement and prepare a draft report and recommendations for consideration at that meeting. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.